you don't have to know, it doesn't have to be one that's been a tenured relationship for like many years for it to be a quality relationship. And secondly, a relationship doesn't have to have high maintenance to be a good relationship, which means we got to be talking to each other all the time. Girl, you didn't call me. Hey, I didn't hear from you. No, we can not see each other and not be in each other's proximity and space. But when we see each other, we pick right back up where we left off, because
exactly,
it's a relationship. Okay.
But you know, we had a relationship before we had a relationship. You know that. I mean, people had put us together years before we met. Mm-hmm. And then I remembered that we had met. We spoke at a conference together at Marvin Sapp's church for his wife, Marlinda. And that was like eons ago. And then, I don't know, we went our separate ways, didn't see each other. And everywhere I would go, people would say, you remind me so much of Pat Bailey. Do you know Pat Bailey? And you all could pass for sisters. And I'd be like, really? And then we had mutual friends. And every time I would stay with them, they would say, Pat just left here. You two people have to meet each other. You're so much alike. You would really hit it off. And then it finally happened at Bill Winston's church. And I said, they were right. They were right. And here we are. We've been joined at the hip ever since. And, you're a jet setter. One day you're in LA. The next day you're in Atlanta. The next day you're in South Africa, or you're in Kenya or someplace. And I'm just sitting here humbly in Ghana for right now after being on lockdown in London for 7 months.
So long, okay? Yeah.
And so we just started talking, and I was telling you that I've been doing this whole thing called Love Month. And we started talking about how important it is for sisters to share. And you know what? I said, I overlooked that aspect of Love Month. It's not just about romantic relationships. It's about your sisterhood. It's about those people that God has put in your life to walk with you, to encourage you. And we are very much alike that way, Pat. You've been encouraging me from the day that we started communicating more regularly. And I've been able to help you and support you in some things and encourage you. And I really treasure that.
You know what else we do have in common? I hear in the background. Where's Versace? Come here, Versace. You know what else we both have in common? Here, boy.
Yeah. Coco, come here. Coco, come.
Coco. We are Shih Tzu lovers. Come, Versace. Yeah. Here, boy. Now, if I wasn't trying to get him on the camera, he'd be trying to get in the camera.
I don't think you've met Coco yet, but Coco is my newest baby.
Coco's gotten that big since you got Coco?
Coco is 3 months old now. And she's just growing, and she is so good. Hi, Versace. Come and look at Versace. Versace is so cute. He reminds me of Milan's boyfriend, Milo. He looks just like
for all you
that made me get my first Shih Tzu. That's what.
Coco. Look at Coco.
That's Coco. Hi, Versace. You remind me of Matisse, too.
Really? Oh.
Exactly like Matisse. Yeah, okay, so now Simba is saying, I have to be shown too.
Oh, okay.
Here's Simba.
Come see Simba. Oh, Yolanda, look at Simba. Simba is the stuff. Look at that. Oh,
Simba thinks he's really a lion. He really does.
Like a lion for real.
And Layla.
Anybody that's watching that's a Shih Tzu lover, please just put it, say, I'm one.
And he's just a little lover boy, as you can see. He loves hugs and kisses.
You know what I say? They're good, and they're good for loving. They just love on you all the time, follow you around the house, and will let you know if anything is coming. It's near. Now they may not be able to do anything much when something's near, but they're gonna let you know that it's coming.
That's right. Come, Layla. Come.
She has 3.
Huh?
I'm telling everybody, you have 3. I only have 1. Oh my God.
Yes, I have 1 passed last night. So he had been ill, and I praised God that I didn't have to put him down. I asked God to take him without me doing that, and he went peacefully, and he had 14 amazing years on this earth. He had gone everywhere. He'd been to Vegas, New York. He's been in books, on TV, and everything. So Matisse had quite the life, and he has joined his brother and sister, Milan and Micah. So my first 3M company, my first 3 Shih Tzus are now together. And I'm still with 3. So I guess 3 is just the number for me. Come, Layla. Come and say hello. Come meet Versace. Versace would like you.
Also, that's the one that's more the color like Versace. Versace, come back.
Say hi, Layla.
Good boy, come here, Sachi. Come. Boy. Come here, boy. Come here. That's the look. You know what? They're such. Because
We
normally
love our
like Versace not be in front of the camera, but now I'm saying Versace.
look, see, look, Layla.
Let's
See, look at Versace. You see?
I bet there's some other Shih Tzu lovers and dog lovers out there watching as well.
Yes. Yes, say hi. Say
They
hello.
from the same family. They
They
do.
do.
Ears and everything.
So,
Look at him.
but anyway, as I was saying, I've been so blessed to have a sisterhood of friends that all walk that same way, Pat, where we encourage one another. We keep pushing each other up the mountain. What can I do to help you? How can I support you? Why are you not doing that? From time to time, we go there too. Hello, girlfriend, you need to get off your behind and you need to be doing that. Stir that gift up. Come on now, let's keep it moving.
Got on me today about Clubhouse. Why are you not on Clubhouse? Got to do it.
Yes. We need to be on Clubhouse. You know that. We got to do a session on Clubhouse.
Awesome.
But, you know, you have so much going on, so many great causes. And I'm always excited when you call me and ask me to be a part. I just jump right in. So tell me what you've been up to lately, because you're building houses and putting people in them and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I'm going to be like Pat when I grow up. That's what I'm
trying to keep up with you. You're the one sitting there living in the continent. I mean, the motherland, the continent, and got a place here and got a place there. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. But same thing, what we've done, and look at what's come. We use what God has given us. Our places have always been used to welcome people, embrace people, help people that are going through a journey. There are many different types of journey that people are transitioning into or out of, be it young adults of the Generation Z and millennials, helping them to stay on course with and even awakening and understanding the call of God upon their life and the importance of them answering the call of their life in their own unique way. And so that's been a part of my life from the origin of this particular house here in Atlanta that sits on the lake. And then in South Africa, God just blessed us. Thanks to Ashton. Ashton was the one that found it right in Santon, a $500,000. Santon, I didn't tell you it was Santon, girl.
Posh girl.
Santon gated community.
Wow.
Quarters pool, and guess what we're doing with it? Children from Ashton's parents have 12,700 orphans. And I have some other friends like Mom Carol, who works with child-led households with kids that parents have died of AIDS from that whole AIDS epidemic and era and throughout, the continent for years ago. And have some other different friends that have orphanages. But I wanted to do something that was a vision house where the children could come in for a week or a weekend, and we bring people in to encourage them and speak into their life and make it like a vision week experience, where if they want to be a pilot, or if they want to be a doctor, if they want to be whatever, have people come in they matriculated out of the townships and made it, so they can see that there's someone that looks just like them. And just the thing that I can't wait to see, I'm so excited about when they go through that gated community. And I have an opportunity to be in the type of communities and house that perhaps their parents or those that don't have parents or the other never had a chance to be in, and pour into their life and get a good foundation in them and have them to dream and have a vision and see that there's no limitations, and that these type of communities and this type of lifestyle is not excluded, and it's not for specific ethnicity of people, but God, this is for you. And I say that they will leave look at Ashton, he's on it, he's showing you the vision house. They will leave the house, that's almost like an Olympic sized pool.
Wow.
How to have a bunch of lifeguards in there. I'm putting a fence up
amazing.
And the yard is so big for the kids to play in. And
wow,
we want it to be I see we have a pomegranate tree back there. I see different type of fruit trees. We're gonna have gardens, we're gonna have a play area, gazebos, and so they can have, what is it called in South Africa, the braais, where they grill. But they will leave at some point the vision house. But I believe the vision will leave them. And so they'll look back and say, somebody, and then we want it to be opulent. I mean, sleeping on Egyptian cotton and sitting on tables that's got china and linen and nice fine cutlery, so it can build create a new image on the inside of them. And just restore
set a new standard.
Absolutely.
That is so wonderful.
And then
So
here in Atlanta, big venture that we're doing now, I'm the general contractor for both of these two projects at the same time. And thank God for partners and people like yourself that just come along, and as we support each other's vision, like you're doing with your team there, young girls that are either crisis pregnancy or unplanned pregnancy, because I don't feel like we have a right to be pro-life and not be proactive. So
yeah.
care about the baby on the other side of the womb as much as we care about the baby in the womb.
Thank you.
Not
Yes.
to be there to judge someone about any decision that they make, but rather be show another narrative, provide another narrative, another journey that leads
Yeah.
to life. Because the statistics show that on any administration, Democratic or Republicans, interesting enough to find out, it might have been you that sent me that you see as many Republican judges, and it doesn't matter who's been the president at that particular time, we see just as much support to Planned Parenthood up under this administration as you would have a Democratic administration. So I believe
there was actually more.
it was
There was
more.
actually more support for Planned
It was
Parenthood
more.
in this last administration than the Obama era. As a matter of fact, abortions went down during the Obama era, which is very surprising, I think, to those who are, in the movement. But it's very, very interesting. And they actually are not, attributing it to Obama, but attributing it to programs that he put in place, which were like the program that you're talking about, more socially oriented, giving young people who find themselves in trouble more options for adoption, fostering, and different programs that made them walk away from aborting. So we really have to find a much more creative way of stopping this other than screaming, don't do it. That don't do it has never worked. It's weird because I never knew that abortions were legal before Roe versus Wade. Everyone has been so focused on overturning it, but it will change nothing. State by state, they'll still get to vote on the abortion issue. And if it's not legal in your state, you'll be able to cross the line and go someplace where it is. So that means mindsets need to change. People need to have more options for saving life. And like you said, be proactive about pro-life. I love that. You need to make a t-shirt with that. Be proactive about pro-life.
Yeah, because think about
it. There you go, girl. There you go. Do that t-shirt. Do that t-shirt.
Yeah, I think this is so hypocritical to be marching in front of an abortion clinic and fighting Roe versus Wade and not being willing to have. I believe this is the times we're living in now. You're modeling that, and I'm endeavoring to be the change I want to see. That whole thing of having this little convenient Christian life where I go to church on Sunday and I go after Sunday to eat at my favorite restaurant, and I sit in the same seat and I park in the same place and I hang out with the same people. That whole concept of, and I put my little tick on my ticket that I went to church on Sunday, and on Monday I go back to life as usual. And the faith and my conviction and my compassion doesn't bleed into my everyday life where it affects someone else. So one of the things that COVID has done, I believe, is shaken, for those up who are willing to understand and be shaken the body of Christ to see life beyond the walls of the church, where we must be in the fabric of society. We must be in the very thread of every fabric of society and be willing, like you and I have done, take our homes, take our lives, be inconvenienced so that we can in the lives of people. It's not a type of standoff Christianity. And unfortunately, some of the things that this generation has seen, and you and I share this same passion, they've not seen in many cases when it comes to justice, when it comes to putting your mouth where your compassion, where your mouth is, and your compassion superseding your convenience. They want to see a manifestation. They want to see something that's real. And in many ways, we haven't shown them a picture of what it looks like.
I've said it often, Pat. We've had these discussions that I feel the church has fallen miserably short on their job. God was about justice, and he didn't get involved in politics. He got involved at grassroots level with dealing with the everyday man, dealing with the needy, dealing with the disenfranchised, dealing with those that needed healing. He was out, Jesus was out being the arms of God. He didn't have time for government because in his mind, he was not of this kingdom, wasn't staying in this kingdom, was going back to his kingdom, and was just passing through. And here we are as ambassadors of Christ. We need to have the same mentality that this is not our kingdom. We are visiting, we are going through, and we're going back to our kingdom. what will we have to present to the king in his domain when we arrive to say that we touched his people, that we reached out, that we came to bind up the brokenhearted, that we came to set the captive free by applying ourselves to their lives. You know, the thing is, it says evil flourishes when good men do nothing. And that doesn't mean storming Capitol buildings and screaming and shouting and being crazy. What it does mean is getting out in the trenches and dealing with lives that are available for you to deal with right in your community, right in your neighborhood, and each one reach one, and then everyone gets positively affected. And I think that we don't take responsibility enough. You know, we kind of separate out the church. They're the missionaries, and oh, aren't they nice? And we throw money at them and we send them off to do the work. But we're missionaries wherever we are, because that's what ambassadors are. They're bringing their kingdom culture to wherever they're living and wherever they're assigned. And every single Christian on the face of the earth is an ambassador assigned in their space. And if we could just get that kingdom mentality in our minds, then whenever we see a need, we'll apply ourselves to it. You know, we for so long ignore things, allow lobbyists to affect laws that we don't like, and then scream about it later. Well, we just look like a bunch of crazy people. Where are you at the lobbyist level before these things get signed in? Where are you when affecting heart conditions so that it never needs legislation? Because at the end of the day, I've said it a million times, these things are not legislation, they are heart condition issues. Exactly. And when we, the church, raise up more of a banner about the sanctity of life, when we educate people on the importance of understanding that a life is a life in the mind of God before it's even conceived. Because one of the problems with this, I understand the legal ramifications of why they vote the way they do on abortion. It is a woman's right to do whatever she wants with her body. And that's not people, that's God. God gives us the right to choose. He does. Now we pay the consequences of whatever that choice is. That's the part we leave out. But he does give us the right to choose. So it is legal in the spirit as well as in the natural that we have the right to choose.
This day I place before you life and death, blessing.
Exactly.
We
choose. Get to choose. Now, that being said, here's where it falls awry. And so those who are, you know, in the legal realm just deal with the legality of it. They're not dealing with ethics. They're not dealing with morality. So in their mind, it's not a baby till it gets here. But in God's mind, it's a baby in his mind before it was ever conceived. Before you were, I knew you. But the carnal mind cannot conceive of the things of the spirit. So that cannot be comprehended. And the church should stop asking legal-minded people to comprehend the truth. The only ones that will are those who know God. And it's still not really their mandate to, what should I say, enforce ethics or morality. Because once again, we're back to the fact that it's not a matter of legislation, it's heart condition. So hearts have to be dealt with. The church needs to be modeling life, modeling love, modeling what Jesus looks like, so that, what is it in Philippians? It says, live a lover's life, circumspect and exemplary, abounding in the fruit of the Spirit, making Jesus attractive to all. We have lost the ability to make Jesus attractive to all. The church is very split right now. And for the loud wheel that is screaming, even those who don't think that way are being thrown into that pot. And it's really a setup for the persecution of the church to come, because those who knew better didn't do better by speaking up. And the ones that didn't know better screamed the loudest and got all the attention. And so now they're the brand
that everybody,
period, you know, all together. So we've really got a lot of work to do to reestablish what Christianity is. Christianity is modeling Christ. It's not a tag that you wear and then lose your mind. That's not what it is. It says we're not to lose our minds, we're to renew our minds so that our lives follow in a victorious fashion. So we've got work to do. Those who have been silent need to be modeling Christ a little louder, And that doesn't mean with your voice, but with your lifestyle, with your action, with reaching out to the disenfranchised, getting involved in the lives of the needy. If you can't be out in the trenches, you need to be giving to someone who's able to do the work. Some kind of way, the work needs to get done.
I believe that it is a time where I can't remember who actually coined it, but it's in essence, it's saying model and demonstrate the gospel and use words only when you have to.
Yes.
And so there was a era of time where there was a strong emphasis on the delivery of the message of the word of God. The delivery of the message. So, you know, a lot of word churches and people going to get the word and get taught. And it's, you know, it was the word, and it will always be the word. I'm not demeaning that at all, but it was a lot of emphasis on the delivery of the word.
Yeah.
People, they get shouted, they get excited. It was a powerful meeting. And so, but then after the delivery of the word, the coupled demonstration, the corresponding demonstration didn't measure up with delivery of the word. And then the Bible
got up in the showmanship and the performance. And so emotions were high, but mind renewal was not. There was not an absorption. And to be perfectly honest, I think that we started becoming teachers or musicians, you know, that whole other level where the average person doesn't comprehend what you're talking about. And the word is in and of itself is very practical and very applicable. But I find that there's two different strains. There's the deep spirituality that's so spiritual it's no earthly good, or it's so watered down to the point of motivation that the guilt element, as far, because, you know, we have Catholic guilt, they call it, you know, but the conviction element is gone because everything is fluffy and hunky-dory, and God loves you just the way you are. Well, he loves you, but he loves you so much he wants to change you so that you can be saved from the consequences of your foolish actions. We don't talk about that a lot. We don't talk about sin anymore.
Who loves and chastises? What about that?
Yes. Chastening for the time seems grievous, but afterwards it bears peaceful fruit of righteousness. You know, shall I continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid, for how can I, who am dead to sin, live any longer therein? We don't talk about that stuff.
And I got one, my favorite one. You didn't hit my favorite one. Galatians 2:20. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but it's Christ that lives in me, and the life that I now live, which means there's some kind of transformation, something changed. I didn't just continue in that way. I now live, not by my own strength, not by my own works, my own merit, by the faith of the Son of God, who, there we go, loved me. He loves me. He gave himself for me so I can change.
Exactly.
About so much.
So we talk about the grace of salvation, but we don't talk about the grace of empowerment to be obedient to God. You know, that is huge. So we have a million excuses. My pastor taught a sermon a couple of weeks ago that I felt was just groundbreaking. He talked about the problem with sin is our language. We have changed the name of sin to little acceptable things. You know, adultery is now entanglement. And, you know, we just go on and we got a pretty name for everything that makes it sound not so bad, you know. And we've made God Santa Claus. So when we come to church, we want to know how to get what we need from him. But are we thinking about how to give him what he wants? No, we're not.
Earlier, when I was mentioning so much emphasis put on delivery, when you think about the essence of the word itself, Jesus modeled it. He was the word made flesh, which means the word in and of itself is not to continue just being word ever without demonstration. When you go back from the very beginning in the creation, God spoke, there was a delivery of the word. The Spirit of God moved, and then there was a manifestation. So we were never to be stuck with just word only, but word indeed as the substratum of our foundation, but coupled with a demonstration. And what this generation needs to see right now is a demonstration. Some of the things that have been modeled under the banner or white brush stroked with a paintbrush, a banner of what's supposed to be Christianity has got a wrong imagery. And no wonder some of them are like, I don't want to have anything to do. They want to throw the baby away with the bathwater and burning down, tearing down statues and because it looks like what was packaged as a truth doesn't seem to care with it in the essence of that packaging, the content of that packaging, what the label says that it is. And I'm not justifying tearing up tearing down statues, any of that. I'm just simply saying there's a greater demand.
Understand why it happens,
It's a greater demand, which means, and so this is why we're doing what we're doing. Tell us about what you're doing with the generation that you're raising up there, because in order to raise up future leaders and be the change we want to see, we got to push up our sleeves and allow ourselves to be inconvenienced and get in people's lives and allow them in our lives.
Very, very true. Well, I have my musical team, Relevance, and we write all original praise and worship. And it's really, our vision is really to make the gospel relevant through our music. So it's got the appeal for you to want to listen, but you're going to get slammed with the word at the same time, and they're all, young people, they're enthusiastic and they are exhibiting the love of God through the music. And it's just an amazing life experience. And it's fun to mentor them, speak into their lives and watch them just really grow and develop and blossom into who God has called them to be. For them to understand that their assignment is to be worshipers, and their worship is not just a song, it's a lifestyle.
Their life.
I tell them all the time, imagine your life is played out on a football field, and every time you give into your flesh, the devil gets a point. And every time you surrender to the Spirit, God gets a point. What's your score?
That's powerful. I like that.
How's the game going right now in your life? Because, we don't know which quarter we're in, but each quarter can look different depending on the choice we make to allow ourselves to mature. So just really, really getting them to practically see and live out the word of God with joy, because, it's a joyous thing. It shouldn't be a duty. If you're really in love with God, you do whatever your lover wants. And you're happy about it because you're pleasing your lover. And I think that there are a lot of people who have daddy issues or God issues, or they're not really taught and exposed in church about the relational aspect. So they're stuck in religion. And religion is torturous. It is not fun. It gives you the list. You're not being, you're doing. And that's where the problem begins. I always say doing is doing the list, and it might not necessarily be God's list. But when you're being who he called you to authentically be, you'll automatically do what you're supposed to do. So, that's one aspect of what I'm doing. And then while I was on lockdown, as you know, I started MMH Hangouts for women to gather on Saturdays from all over the world. And we would talk about, I usually have a guest or a friend come on. You got to do one of those. You got to come on. We got to get you scheduled.
Just tell me when.
Okay, I'm working on this schedule now, so we hitting on you. But we come on and we pick a theme and we discuss it for the day. They go into breakout rooms. They meet people. They make friends. So they're making connections with people all over the world. We do Q&A, and it's lively banter, but it's life-changing banter, which is for me, it's always about transformation. If somebody's not being transformed or empowered, I'm not really interested in doing it. So, for me, every conversation counts. And what is the end result of the conversation? So doing that has led to me developing curriculum and courses that anybody can go to my website and see, www.michellehammond.com. I've got a couple of book clubs with novels on there. So they get workbooks and they can form their own book club. And if they get over 15 people, I'll attend a session for a Q&A session. So that's, because I just want to encourage women to get together. And the books are really juicy urban tales of women struggling on all levels with different types of things going on in their lives, but God is at the center of it. So they learn as they're being entertained. But what I'm really excited about that's coming up is my Love You Masterclass. It is 40 days of getting real about life, love, and happiness. And it is a 5-module course with 10 lessons each, and they'll get a workbook, and there will be several master classes interspersed for Q&A. There'll be a Love You community where they can interact and discuss what they're learning. But I feel like this course is so important because so many people struggle with relationships. And I think it's because we either over spiritualize or over romanticize the whole relationship thing. So this is really a practical course dealing with everything from heart recovery to looking at the big picture of your life, to dating, mating, and relating.
Dating,
mating, and relating.
Wow, I like
effective communication, the reality about sex. I mean, we're going in and dealing with all of these things so that the mindset can change so that we can get victorious in this thing called having a life, being happy whether we have someone or not. But if someone happens to show up, you need to have the wisdom to navigate that relationship. And that's what the course is all about. And it's an intensive. It has tape sessions so they can do it at their leisure. And then the master classes will be scheduled so that people can then have a time where they can ask me questions and interact. And we can work through whatever they're still in doubt of after the material has been totally consumed. So the Love You Masterclass is huge right now. I'm having a free one. What date is that, Tega? Do you remember what the date is for the free one? I think it's the 20th of this month. And the masterclass, let me tell you, right now it's marked off at 50%, but the price will go back up March 1st. So people need to take advantage of that window and sign up for the class before the price goes back up, because it's really cheap even at the regular price, because I just want people to be able to take the class. So you need to get in the class, you need to get your friends in the class, and really apply yourself. There are so many courses out there that are available for people right now, and they're charging outrageous prices. And once you take the class, they're not telling you anything. I promise you, you're going to get content that if you apply it, you will see a difference in your life. You will learn how to close the deal on your relationships. You will know how to, So, you'll learn how to break cycles, those repeat cycles of disappointment, and get a wider vision of life. Because I find that a lot of us, whether single or married, are very myopic. We get focused on that one thing and just wear it out. It becomes our Moby Dick. We go down with that ship when we could have been enjoying the view on the sea and having a great sailing experience. We get focused on that one thing that we haven't mastered or still want in our lives. And we forsake everything else that's available. So I just really want people to have a larger perspective of life as they pursue this thing called relationships.
There's no way around it, because when you stop and think about it, relationships falls on so many different levels, be it business, one-on-one, the love relationship, just learning how to master that whole relationship factor in and of itself. And I'm sure with what you're teaching, even though it's a relationship perhaps with male-female relationships, whatever, but they're principles I'm sure that they can take and apply those principles in business and ministry arenas as well. Because
everybody's not married, everybody's not getting married. So you've got to be able to really navigate every relationship in your life. It's amazing to me how many single people want to be married, but they're not speaking to family members. I mean, how are you going to do that? What's going to happen when that person's in your house and they're not leaving? How are you going to communicate? How are you going to forgive? How are you going to unpack that baggage and let stuff go? These are all issues that we have to talk to, because our heart conditions keep us from having healthy relationships. And a lot of us don't even know. We've got hidden triggers, things that set us off that we've never dealt with. And now is the time to clear it. I say, people were like, I'm so glad when 2021 gets here and life gets back to normal. And I feel like God said, no, you all still are not listening to me. I got to lock you down just a little bit longer. I'm waiting for you to get it. When you get it, I'll release you. So why not take advantage of the time Wow. And now I guess we're locked down anyway, for the people in the States anyway, where everybody's freezing, no matter where you are,
Our
Texas,
counterpart too.
storms, so forget about COVID. We've got other elements raging against us to keep us in the house. So I believe that there's a very subtle thread of the spirit at work in the middle of that all saying, draw close to me during this time, feed on me, feed on the things I want to share with you so that when the doors open, you're ready to go, and you're ready to go in a healthy way where you're whole and you're healthy and your mind is set right so that you can embrace whatever blessings come into your life and not just receive them, but maintain and sustain them. And so that is critical with relationships, because I think that sometimes we make the relationship the goal, and then when we get it, we don't know what to do with it. So these are the things we're going to be talking about. And stop wasting your money on all those other expensive courses and take this one. 50% off is way cheap. I've even set up a three-time payment plan if you want to make that an excuse. So, I just think that for me, I'm back to my sweet spot, which was relationships. I've written over 42 books, and most of them are relationship books. I'm known as a relationship expert. And I kind of got distracted and was all over the place. I got pulled into what was going on in the news every day and feeling I needed to be addressing that all the time. And God said, get back to your lane and stay there. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm known for. I've gotten so many people put together. I've repaired so many relationships.
Really?
Yes. Every couple that I was instrumental in getting them together has an amazing marriage.
Wow.
So I'm really good at what I do.
That's anointing. You have an anointing.
Fall on me.
Guys, those, especially those. I have a daughter, spiritual daughter, and she just got to saying to me today, I won't call her name. And she's like, because she finds herself in a cycle, in a relationship, coming in and out of cycles, in one of the particular ones, the same relationship, because the person that she's dealing with has not done, this is what I said, this person has not done anything any different to improve themselves, develop their character, go take any classes, get any kind of counseling. What have they done to prove to you that they're any different in their thinking and in their character and their behavior than they were when you were in the relationship the last time? All you're doing is back another circle around.
Well, I always tell those people, remember why you broke up in the first place. And what do you really value and what do you really believe? Are you in alignment with this person that you're dealing with? Because when we have repeat cycles, the common denominator of those repeat cycles is us. You got to own your stuff, learn the lesson, know when to let go. Sometimes we're holding on to something that, it's so obvious that and it falls into the place of fear, what we fear most. So then something becomes better than nothing, and it never is.
Well, those of you that are watching, you better take advantage of two things. The free session she has, but don't stop there. People always want something free. Go further, because there's no skirting around relationships. You're in some kind of relationship. If you're on the planet, unless you a hermit somewhere, you're in some kind of relationship. And so here's an opportunity. I love what you said. Instead of paying the crazy money of so many others that are out there, people are paying ridiculous money to learn about relationships. Here's something. She's made the payments available for you, and then also giving you an appetizer, free appetizer of what to expect and what's to come. And I'm just so excited about you being a part of when we really want to push that real big. And my women's, we're not even saying a women's conference anymore, because the men are saying, like, what about us? And Sisters Empowering the World is March, right after yours is over, March the 4th to the 7th. And we are dealing with really being the change we want to see, and being vicarious, caring about one another, caring about, I've really been big on women like yourself and men as well, because we've met some men that are doing the same thing, mentoring boys to men, but a sense of community, a sense of Titus 2 women, and celebrating women that fostered, and women that adopted, and women that was that big mama or that auntie in our lives and in the community that helped different ones of us navigate through different parts of our life. There's so many young girls and young people that don't have anyone in their life to because a lot of them were babies having babies and no one to speak into their
Mhm.
life with wisdom. And the expression that it takes a village to raise a child, it really takes us coming together in a sense of community if we're going to see things change. Let's think about something like this, as simple as this, Michelle. Manners. There's a generation of young people.
Did you say manners?
Whatever happened to manners? Did somebody just take that out the dictionary? Did it just
Oh,
exit the planet? If you're like
yes,
a certain age and under, what happened?
exactly.
And so, uh, as a result of not having that sense of family and community, you see the breakdown, because we already know what happens with the absentee father. And really, it's no longer just an absentee father. There's an absentee mother. There's an absentee
Mhm.
grandmother and an absentee aunt and uncle. And, we live in communities, now we don't know our neighbors. And I remember, Michelle, do you remember this, Michelle? When you used to be able to borrow, I remember as a little girl, our neighbors would come and knock on the door to borrow a cup of sugar, borrow
Mhm.
the eggs till they got groceries, borrow bread to like the sense of like a community. And I
Yeah.
can come and
I
you'll,
remember getting 5 whippings before I got home. How about that? You did
wow,
the wrong thing.
wow.
Forget about it. That doesn't happen anymore.
And then
We get
somebody else giving you the whipping. It was somebody else giving you a child. And what about this? The lady that I grew up with where it was in my grandmother's neighborhood. And her name was, we didn't say it down south, we didn't say Miss Mary, we said Miss Mary. Miss
Mhm.
Mary sat on the porch, and she was like a mother in Zion. She was a gatekeeper. She was this hawk. She knew, she watched over everybody's sitting up there on her porch with her white, silky gray hair, almost white, and she cared for everybody's children.
Yeah.
And it seems like we've become so selfish and me, my four, no more. And like, it's all I can do is just take it my four. I interviewed someone yesterday, Michelle, you're going to love this, who has an apprentice. She has to do an apprentice with the ministry. She's in
Mhm.
school, getting her MDiv, and she has 4 children, 3 under 3, one
Whoa.
19. She's getting her PhD. As a matter of fact, she's not just doing an MDiv, she's doing a PhD. She's married. She and her husband are in ministry, and she wants to come and volunteer for my ministry.
Oh
I
my
thought,
goodness.
how in the world? So she
Where
began
does
to
she
tell the
have
story.
time?
I began to tell, I said, you must be super organized, okay? She shared that the first child she adopted, and that child is in college.
Wow.
After adopting the first child, God opens up her womb and she is pregnant with her biological child. While having the biological child, like a newborn baby, the agency comes to her and says, "We have this little boy named Samson that we need you to, we need you to adopt." And she's like, "Are you kidding me? I have this 6-year-old, and then I got this little girl." And sure enough, they try to find another family. The child comes back, and she adopts this child, and then gets pregnant with her second biological child. Point taken, I'm making. Somehow in her world, she has to have the most hectic, busy world. And she found a space in her heart, in her life, she and her husband, to consider don't that the need of that child and the potential of what that child could possibly be in life, that God would give some type of divine elasticity in her capacity to
Mhm.
love beyond her comfort, to
Mm.
care beyond convenience. And
Mm.
is that not what Jesus modeled when he said, if they tell you to go 1 mile, go 2. If they
Yeah.
ask for your shirt, give them your coat. What is required in the times that we're living in now is a type of kingdom model that
Yeah.
shows we care. So we're coming together to say we are vision carriers who believe we can change our culture. We don't
Mhm.
have to, we see the direction that those that have agendas, and the enemy has an agenda to take this generation a particular direction, and we don't have to sit back and just see it go that way. We can get in a grassroots level and make a difference in their lives. And so we're coming together March the 4th to the 7th to deal with solutions
Wonderful.
equipping us to win for these times, and not just sit back and say we got to take things the way they are. So right
Yeah.
after you finish yours, we'll be rolling right on in. And I just believe that it's an opportunity, everything like the very same things that you're doing, not just talk it, but to model it and to
Yeah.
demonstrate, so we can be the change we want to see.
It's so important. It is really, really. Oh, and before I forget, count me in. Before I forgot to mention that I'm giving away free books this month. And
Woo!
once again, if they go to my website and click on the Love Month pop-up, they will be able to get their free books. There's 2 free books there, a devotional, a book, and there's discounts of 2 other books for 99 cents. So,
Did you
figure.
say that? Did you say 99 cents?
I said 99 cents.
You need to go right.
Because my passion is for people to just be victorious in this area. And I decided a lot of people, because of Valentine's Day, they get all depressed and discouraged, And so I said, let me just help a sister, let me help a brother out by giving some freebies and developing programs to help
Where
them.
did they go again to get that? Can they put that up on the screen where they go to get that? Did you hear she said 99 cents?
99 cents. You got the Love Month? You gave it to Ashton? Okay. So Ashton could put it up. It's Love Month. And then we have an ultimate package. Is that one? You gave it? Okay. So there's an ultimate package where there's one price that gets you the masterclass, 3 coaching sessions with me, 2 free books, and what else? Or something. Just a bunch of stuff. That's the ultimate MMH package. Yeah, so that's there. And if you go to the website, there's a button for that. And then there's Love Month. Do you have that, Ashton? Love Month is where you get all the free books and all of that. So lots of stuff. And we're going to go straight through. There we go.
Wow, look at that.
We're going to go straight through the Pat's program, and we are just going to champion one another on these things.
Which is modeling again.
Yes.
Good relationships.
Exactly. Because you know what, Pat, I don't know why women have this reputation of not championing one another.
Don't understand.
And it's so important because women teach men how to treat us by how we treat one another.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
So if they see us distrustful of one another, disrespectful of one another, they go, well, women know women. So if that's, what they're modeling, then that must be the way we should treat them, because we shouldn't trust them either. We shouldn't respect them either. So, it's very, very important that we stand as sisters together, celebrating one another, complimenting one another. The Bible says we're to provoke one another to good works, okay? And all these books are on Amazon. So if you just go to Amazon, those special prices are there. How to be found by the man you've been looking for. What to do until love finds you. Okay? So all of those are there. How to avoid the 10 mistakes single women make. All of them are 99 cents. Oh, we even left some off the list in our promotion. So we need to go back and do that. But anyway, once they get to the page, they can see that they can just take advantage of a lot of books on sale for relationship issues. And I keep it real, Pat. I don't cut any corners, because people need to know the truth. They really do. They need to know the truth. And you know what? See, that's the thing, Pat, if we get these relationships right, then when they get to your program, they're all in. You know why? Because they're not sitting around worrying about themselves anymore. They've sorted all that stuff out. I think a lot of times people are not as philanthropic as they should be, or as selfless as they should be, because they're still dealing with their broken issues. Wow. That is what gets us in trouble about holiness. God says he wants us to be made whole and holy by his love. Now, wholeness leads to holiness. The reason God is holy is because he's perfect and entire, lacking nothing. He is whole. He desires nothing outside of himself. So now, we in our broken state, we get so distracted by our needs on a daily basis, we don't have room and time for other people's needs. But once we get ourselves sorted out, we can then give to the world. That's why you got people like Bill Gates giving all their money away. They're not sitting around worrying about money. They got money. So now they can focus on, what should I do with this money? Oh, there's some people over in Africa need some money. Here. Oh, here. They're throwing stuff, because that part of their life is solved. And I think that when we struggle with areas of our lives that are not solved, we are bankrupt, and we don't have the excess, the abundance to give where we need to give to others. And that's a trick of the devil, to keep us in a state of lack and want and wantriitis, so that we don't focus on the world at large and see issues that need to be addressed, issues that we could do something about because it's in us, but we're too distracted by ourselves and our needs and our brokenness.
And what's so sad is they miss this really universal principle. It's a biblical principle, but it's also universal. And literally, what you make happen for others,
God makes happen for you. I've seen it time and time again.
I've lived by that. I've lived by
Yeah.
that. That's why we've been blessed. And, there are things that we desire to do, but you look around, Michelle, let's face it. As two African American women, or two, you got a whole melting pot there within you. You got the Ghanaian, you got is it Barbados? Is it Barbados?
Barbados. Yeah, Barbados and London.
Oh, what a salsa, what a gumbo, what a fusion that is. Incredible heritage. But we look around and we see God's been faithful to us, and he's been good to us. And even during the time of this pandemic, he's met our needs. We've not been forsaken. We've not been begging for bread. I'm sure you, like me, we're doing things in a different, innovative way, but we've still been able to deal our bread to the hunger, reach out to others, extend our arms to others.
Yes.
In the midst of what we're facing.
And when you do it, you feel so good. I can't explain it. Sometimes we spend all this time saying, if I could just get this right, or get that right in my life, I would feel so good. Mm-hmm. When you do something for someone else, oh my goodness, you feel so good.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. When you pour yourself out, that's why I love it. When Jesus met that woman at the well, and the disciples showed up with food, and he wasn't hungry anymore. And they said, well, did you find food somewhere? And he said, I have food that you know not of. And it was the satisfaction of pouring himself out to be a drink for someone else. And she went there looking for water and left her water jar.
Left the water pot. Left the water pot.
The very thing that she went there looking for, she found in a different form, and did not need the conventional idea of what she thought would quench her thirst. And a lot of us are thirsty, but we don't know how to pick the right source. We spend so much time looking for resources that we don't look to the source. Now, if you got a choice between a resource
or the source,
and a source,
give me the source any day.
You tell me.
The source any day. He provides before the need arises. He knows what you have need of even before you ask. He does exceedingly abundantly above what your imagination, request, or desire could ever be. He knows your thoughts from afar. Before you were in your mother's womb, he knew you. And everything. He didn't withhold anything from you. I'm talking to somebody right now who's concerned about paying bills, and who's concerned, and you're concerned about paying bills because you can't see.
Yeah.
See how. Where his love and his provision for you exceeds your ability to understand and see. He's asking you to trust him, which is the highest form of lust. Lust, not it is the highest form of love, not lust. And then I want to challenge you for a moment that's watching. We just went in this zone right now just for you. I want you to remind yourself of the very last time when you saw yourself in this same space, wondering, I couldn't figure out, I don't see it. And I want you to pause for a moment. Don't insult your source. Don't insult the source.
Amen.
Don't insult the creator. Did he not come through for you the last time? So you just pick your little happy self back up and go open up your treasure chest of memories and testimonies and remind yourself what he did the last time. And the same God, the same source that provided for you then, when you didn't know then how it was the ends were going to meet. He's the same God. And let's stop insulting him. And when you see yourself in this kind of a space, would you stop allowing the enemy to push your button and remind yourself, wait a minute, I'm not falling for this dumb stuff again.
Right.
When you're done that, got a t-shirt. Right now, I'm going to turn this into a time. Lord, I thank you. I remember I didn't know then, but you came through and you
Yeah.
continued to be there for me time and time and time again, even when I couldn't see my way through. For somebody
Amen.
today, he's speaking to you. I love what my sister said, Michelle. Why would you deal with a resource and seeking resources when the source himself loves you so much, cares so much about you, knows what you need before you ask, and has provided before the need was ever to arise? Whoever that's for.
And if I can just add on to that, Pat, that a lot of times we don't see the provision of God because we've decided how he should provide.
Mhm.
And God is an out of the box God. We cannot keep him in the box. He is creative in how he sources us.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not in cash, but it's in kind.
Mhm.
Sometimes it comes through a new door, using a gift you didn't know you had to provide for you. Sometimes it's a gift. Sometimes it just gets taken care of and you don't know how it did. But if you would just open your hands and say, God, I'm releasing you to do what you do, however you want to do it, whenever you want to do it,
Mm.
hmm, you will see him move in magnificent ways in your life and surpass your expectations. But as Jonah said, if you cling to worthless idols, you forfeit the grace that could be yours. There's a grace, there's a provisional grace that God extends to us when we walk in trust. He says, in quiet and in confidence shall be your strength. You see, fear has torment because your love hasn't been perfected to the place where you trust them blindly. You know, it's interesting that we can fall in love with a human being that will fail us and trust them blindly. And they're lying to you, but you believe them because you love them. Your love demands that whatever they say be truth in your heart. But when it comes to God, how deep is your love there? Do you trust him blindly? To know him is to love him, and to love him is to trust him. And when we trust him, he delights in that trust and shows off and shows out like you just wouldn't believe. All he asks is, do you trust me? And just think about it. If you've made a promise to someone and they've acted like your promise was suspect, how insulted you feel. Because it's an assault against your character. And when we struggle with trusting God, it's an assault against his character. And so I'm just challenging you to just press in. Read, go back to your Bible, look at the impossible situations that people were up against. God always came through. Those stories are there to describe circumstances so that you draw the principle that is at work in your own life. Okay, so it's really important for us to know that God was very strategic with that storytelling. He wanted you to see that you're not alone in your situation, that you're not the only person that life happens for, that you're not the only person that comes up against things that assault your faith and drain your energy and wipe out your finances and your means of provision. In every case, he showed up and he'll show up for you. You know, it's a matter of embracing those examples and saying, if he's no respecter of persons, he has to show up for me. Now, here's my kind of crazy prayer life. I go, God, you know what? You really need to do something about that, or I'm going to be giving you serious side eye because this is what your word says. And I know you're not a man and you can't lie. So I am waiting. I am watching. My eyes are on you. It's in my heart. I could as well get it out and tell him. And guess what? He has never failed me. He has never disappointed me. He always shows up. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not exempt from getting a little antsy at times and going, ooh, this is close. I got this bill. Now, how am I going to figure this out? And then boom, something happens and it's there. It's there when I need it. Now, it's not there ahead of when I need it. Because, you know, God's a brother. I decided God was African a long time ago. Looks like he's not showing up, but he's all right on time. Well, that old song, he may not come when you want him, but he's right on time. That's the truth, you know. And I think that God loves stretching our faith. I think it just amuses him. You know, sometimes I go, God, that's not fair. You know, I'm human. Now, why are you stressing me out like this? But you know what? Every time that he shows up in that pinch, it stretches my faith, and my faith muscle grows and it gets stronger and stronger. And so I'm in a good place now. My highs are not so high and my lows are not so low. There's a consistency that's being bred on the inside of me. And it's the same consistency that God wants to breed on the inside of you to strengthen your core. When we talk about working out, you know, your back hurts not because your back is the problem. The back hurts because your core is not strong enough to carry the back as it should. And that's what God is doing. He's building our faith core. He's building our integrity core. He's building our character core so that it can carry the rest of what he wants us to carry. And then we won't be struggling and pulling muscles out of place because our core is strong. So rest in that today and be encouraged that God knows where you are. He knows what you have need of. Before you pray, he sent an angel with the answer to fulfill your need. So all you got to do is just relax and rest in him and be confident. In quiet and in confidence shall be your strength.
Michelle, I have this little, I call it my little treasure box. I have several of them around. This my teas in from different parts of the world. But I always have another one that I tell people that inside that little box are the testimonies of the times that God has come through for me when no one was there. And I want to challenge someone today to go back and open up their treasure chest.
Yes.
Where those precious times where it's so dear to you, what he did for you, when it happened, that even when you rehearse it, you feel everything like it just happened in this moment. It's those, and for some, it's more than one, but it's the one that you can hold on to and use it as a weapon against the enemy. Because Revelation 12:11 does say we overcome Satan by the blood of the Lamb
and the word of our testimony.
And we love not our life unto death. There's something God codified in that treasure chest of testimonies that you pick one out and you hold it up to the enemy and you say, you know what? When you're telling me that my child is not going to come back to the kingdom, and you're trying to tell me that my child, well, let me open back this up and let me remind myself of when I was carrying that child and the doctor said I would not be able to carry it full term, or the doctor and the same God that brought me through to deliver the child can deliver the child again. Amen. That's somebody today. Open back up your little treasure chest box and remind yourself of all those things that he's done for you that seemingly was the 25th hour when it looked like no one was going to be there for you. He showed up, and hold this dear. And remember, the God that did it before, he'll do it again. Won't he, Michelle?
Yes, he will.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
and he'll do it in spectacular fashion because he's a big show off, I've decided.
Guess what I say? I said, Lord, Father, throw your weight around. Flex your muscles and throw your weight around for your daughter. Show them. Yeah, he loves to show out. Well, I've enjoyed our time together. I want the people to not drag their feet, go hop on, immediately go to your site to get those books that are 99 cents. How philanthropic of you, how gracious of you, how kind of you to just take what could have been a broader profit margin and say, I just want to bless people. And then also for them not to miss out on not only the free session, but then go on into, what are your dates again? Your dates are March.
Well, it starts in March 1st. And like I said, it's 50 days, literally. So it's like a month and a half, almost 2 months worth of curriculum for them to work through. And I'll be popping up from time to time throughout their study to do Q&A. Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And then I believe that as they're going through this transformation of learning and how to let go and dealing with relationships, as you said, they're going to be positioned and during this transformational time, ready to love others, love our as ourselves. Our conference, Ashley's going to throw it up again. It's going to be March the 4th through the 7th. My friend's going to be in with me, and it'll be people just like ourselves, the two of us, where people of the same tribe, the same genre. We are not about, it's not about us. It's about how we can be a blessing to others and live a full life. It's a conclave, it's a coming together, and we're walking away the same way we think so much alike. We're walking away with solutions. We're actually implementing solutions and tactics during our 4 times and our 4 days in our conclave together. So it's going to be very, very awesome. We even have a piece from Ambassador Arikana, who was the former U.S. ambassador to the AU, and boy, she's going to be challenging and even provoking some that are so many that don't think like you, Michelle, that they really can invest in Africa and they really can buy a house in Africa, and we really do have a part there. And because the Chinese and different ones they definitely see is there. It's your heritage. It's the land of your ancestors. If anybody should benefit from the resources and the culture of that continent, it should be you. So I followed my girlfriend and just said, you know what, I'm gonna buy me a house there too. So the same way she's a blessing, we have been able to be a blessing too. So it's a think tank to investment opportunities. Whoever told you that your currency was supposed to be in US dollars only? Why aren't they supposed to be in safas and rands and naira and shillings?
And Bitcoins now. I mean, it's interesting. My mother had been investing in Bitcoins for a couple of years, and we kept laughing about it. Oh, Mom, here you go again. I was in London trying to buy something from a pharmacy, and they only accepted Bitcoins.
Are you serious?
I said, okay, all righty then. I had to call my mother to get Bitcoins. So, we got to stay up on this stuff. We've got to be in the know about it. And
we're talking about that when we come together too. We're talking about digital currencies, Bitcoin, all of the nine. Preparing people for the times, being equipped for the times. Yeah, we're in a different season. It's amazing. Some people said, "Oh, I can't wait to turn to you back to usual." Office memo. It's not going back to usual.
Time
doesn't go back. Time goes forward.
I'm telling you. And if it did, that would mean we're stagnating and dying on the vine. So, because God's constantly moving forward. He's not going back. He doesn't remember closer. Back there.
What's that?
He doesn't remember anything back there. That's what it says. He's thrown our sin as far as the east is from the west. We go back. He doesn't. He keeps moving forward. I am. He's present. Present, 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 present. He's not I was. He's not I'm going to be. Right. I am.
Who has this been good? We have to do this more often.
We do.
I know. So let this be a model, template, an encouragement for other women as well. Don't listen to the lies of the enemy. When you're secure about who you are, you're never intimidated. You never end up on the short end of the stick to embrace your sister and to champion each other and celebrate each other and open doors for each other and promote one another. Our daughters and our daughters' daughters need to see this. And it's a lie of the enemy to try to make us think that we can't do this. You should compete and fight and defend for the sisterhood, because we really do need each other. We need each other. And don't you believe?
When we unite. What's that? I said we're a force when we unite. That's why the enemy works overtime to keep us divided, comparing ourselves to one another, in competition with one another. Because when we do come together, serious stuff happens. And we need to be shaking the world up about now. And it's such an amazing time to do that. So many women rising in power, running countries, cities, organizations, governments. A Nigerian woman just became the head of the World Trade Organization.
Really?
Yes. She's been made the head of the World Trade Organization, a Nigerian woman. Wow. We've got a female vice president. I mean, come on, we are rocking and rolling. We've got prime ministers that are female. We've got, during the first outbreak of COVID, the best handled countries were run by females. What does
Really?
that say? Oh, yes, New Zealand. And what was the other place? Those countries, Germany, were the best ones that were in response, and it was by women. So, women, we are, it says, who can find a virtuous woman? The word there, virtuous, means chakma, woman of excellence. The word virtue is a force to be reckoned with. So we are women who are an excellent force to be reckoned with. And when we come together, look out, world.
Awesome. I think Ashley's kept getting me to show one of our little soul commercials on the way out for those who don't know what Sister Empowering the World is all about.
I love that acronym. So
this is Empowering the World. We're so coming together. Okay, Ashley, we're ready. Hi ladies, it's that time of the year again and need your help like never before. This sow is going to prove to be even more intense than the one last year. We're bringing women together that are affecting and transforming their community and their world. Our focus this year is being very aware on how our children are being indoctrinated from a perspective of education, what they're being taught. We're going to have extreme, incredible educators who are literally transforming curriculums and how our children are being taught and teaching us what to be aware of. But then also strong women that are very on the cutting edge concerning the foster system and a lot of our children that are completely displaced. I believe that with some of the things that we've just seen recently, to be very honest with what just happened on January the 6th, a lot of young children and young people are really, really confused. And we haven't really shown them the picture of leadership, the picture of accountability, the picture of kingdom, the picture of compassion that they deserve to see. So as we come together as Sisters Empowering the World, boy, do we have strategies and hit the ground strategies, like literally to work things through and timelines like never before, because it's a time that we can't talk about this anymore. It's time to move, and it's time to move now. We have global leaders coming together from around the world, and again, it'll be another think tank, it'll be another round table, and there's a seat at the table for you. Times have changed. We're in a new year now. We're facing so many things, and if there's ever been a time for sisters to empower their world and to be in a position like a modern day Deborah, a modern day Esther, or even a modern day Rahab to affect change and literally be the change we want to see, is now. And we can't wait. You can't afford to miss this moment. Get your place now. We literally have knocked off $100 for those for the early bird registration. You can put $25 down and just hold your place. I'm telling you, I'm bringing you the very best of the best in their field. So let's get ready. God bless you, and I can't wait to see you at the table. That balcony in LA that I want to see you on when things open up. That's that balcony in LA that I want to see you on, so we can. There's a good place to get away and write. Do another book.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
My love to you, Sissy.
Love to you too, and Versace.
I know. Remember that song Color Purple with you must not teeth together. Yeah, this is the sisterhood for those of you that watch it. In this month of love, please support my sister. Get there and get those books in this whole month of love. Let this be a time that you focus on working on that arena and that area of your life, that love walk, that relationship walk. And so it's going to be worth the investment in your life. And I believe it'll never be the same. Anything you want to say on the way out, sis?
Listen, I'm just back to trust him as your source. Stop running after resources. Press into the source.
Till next time, this is Michelle Pat. Sisters from another mother, but the same father.
I'm telling you.
See you next time.
See you.